What up, folks? I'm back once again doing another video game review, and this time I'm reviewing Street Fighter that was made by Capcom, and it was first released in the arcade, and it's in excuse me. It was first released in the arcade game, and then it was later ported to the Super Nintendo and most likely the Sega Genesis. Now, the pretty much the basic premise of the game is that it is a fighting game where 8 different fighters from around the world pretty much enter into the tournament to become a champion in this particular Street Fighter tournament. One thing about it is that all 8 fighters have like different fighting styles. You know, like one is a pro wrestler, the others a sumo wrestler, the others do like different types of martial arts. And they also have like individual reasons as to why they entered the tournament, and the fighters are Ken, Ryu, Gao, Blanca, Chun-Li, Dahin, I may be butchering his name, but there's those plus E. Honda, Same Chief, and lucky if I haven't mentioned them before. So you pick one of those 8. And there are also 4 non-playable characters that you fight to win the tournament, which are Byron, Vega, Sagat, and Bison. And once you pick your fighter, the first 8 fighters that you face are at complete random, which includes the doppelganger of the fighter that you pick. So those 8 are pretty much at pure random in terms of who you fight at first, second, third, and so forth. And then the non-playable characters you fight in order of Byron, Vega, Sagat, and Bison. And the one thing about this particular game is that it has 3 bonus stages, and you play in them after you beat the 3rd, 6th, and the 9th fighter. And while the 9th fighter in Street Fighter is always going to be Byron, and the 3rd bonus stage it will get started after you beat him. Now the first bonus stage is destroying a car, the second is destroying a brick wall, and the final one is destroying some barrels that come from 2 conveyor belts. Now it is worth noting that the first bonus stage is found in the one game that's made by Capcom, Final Fight. The main difference is that the car bonus stage on Final Fight has a 2x4. Street Fighter don't. And I do believe that it is connected to the fact that both are different genres. And plus, each of the 8 fighters have their own like cutscene after you defeat Bison. Like Ken get married, and and Blanca finds his mother. And these are like 2 examples of the final cutscene. Once the cutscenes play out, you pretty much put your initials by your score. One thing you can do is like change the difficulty and the button configuration and the options, but most people don't bother with messing with the button configuration. They leave it as is. Now, the graphics of the game, the graphics, the level design, and the like map design between fights are good, and they pretty much age good. Pretty much compared to like some of the fighting games that were released on the Super Nintendo. And the controls are pretty good, and the special moves are not hard to pull off. You know, one thing I didn't mention that I should have earlier is that all of the fighters have at least 2 special moves. Like with Shang-Chi, he does like a spinning clothesline and spinning power driver, which both relates to the fact that he's a pro wrestler. Then there's the Dragon Punch, the Dragon Fireball, and the Hurricane Kick that's done by Ken and Ryu. Mainly because both of them have the same martial arts. And one thing I do have to mention is that the Super Nintendo pretty much had the advantage when it came to Street Fighter and other fighting games, mainly because it had to do with the design of the Super Nintendo controller over the Genesis controller, in that the Super Nintendo controller got 4 buttons on the right side and 2 shoulder buttons, which allow for you to do all of the kicks and punches. And while the Genesis controller is pretty much got 3 controllers, not 3 controllers, but 3 buttons, and it's kind of on the annoying side because you have to press start to switch between the kicks and the punches. And some specials require a kick or a punch to really pull it off, to pull one of them off. So I would say go with like Super Nintendo if you want a good if you want to play like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, for like on that if you want to play those games on one of those 2 systems, I'll say stick with Super Nintendo on that one. But now the soundtrack is pretty good, and when it was ported from the arcade to like Super Nintendo, that Capcom didn't really make any big time, pretty much made no changes in the soundtrack. And I say, this one really goes back to the controller of Super Nintendo. Capcom pretty much took advantage of the fact that the Super Nintendo got the 4 buttons and the 2 shoulder buttons back in the 90s, and they did that with all their games that were released on the Super Nintendo for the Super Nintendo. And this is really in the Street Fighter. This particular game really started the popularity of the fighting game genre. And pretty much Midway continued it with Mortal Kombat, of course. Now, as far as the score, I would give it a 9, mainly because you can't use Byron, Vega, Sagat, and Bison in the game, which it was later rectified in the later Street Fighter games, which was the second one that was released after this one that I'm reviewing. Now, with that being said, if you're a fan of the Street Fighter series or this game in particular, you can mention it in the comment section, or if you like any other like fighting game, you can also mention that. If you like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy Big Metroid Fan 12 signing off.